Jtolan Media is a channel that most people will be aware of. Essentially, he's a chap who's done some incredible long-range infrared observations, highlighting how ridiculous the globe is with these observations, using the globe Earth mathematics to compare to his infrared observations, and as a result he's flattened the globe many times. He classes himself as a flat earther. Now this is where it starts to get very silly, because recently Mr. Jtolan released a video, a very controversial video, where he made some quite interesting claims, shall we say. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I'm going to highlight a few things that are a bit of a problem. One, Mr. Jtolan believes the moon has vegetation on it. He's come to that conclusion from imagery that's come from NASA's original so-called moon landing. So we've got this flat earther citing moon landing footage as evidence that the moon has vegetation on it. Dear oh dear. Mr. Jtolan also claims that the flat earth is rotating. Again, he has zero evidence for that. I'm a tower crane operator for over 20 years. If the earth was rotating, people like myself would be fully aware of that. We'd have to deal with that. Mr. Jtolan cites the Foucault pendulum as a scientific proof that the earth is rotating. So now we've got this flat earther who's done some incredible observations, now citing globe pantomime science, essentially Victorian parlour tricks, as somehow proof of the earth is rotating. Now if the Foucault pendulum was real, and what we saw in these museums, the effect on the pendulum was actually a result of the earth rotating, then that would be seen on every tower crane on earth. Certainly tower crane operators like myself would have to encounter that. We don't, because the earth isn't rotating. So what's going on with Mr. Jtolan? He suddenly believes NASA are real now. They're a real space agency. He cites moon landing photography as proof that the moon has vegetation on it. He thinks space is real, there is a vacuum that's residing next to this air pressure flat earth. I don't understand it. Without solid separation. So he believes NASA's real. He believes the flat earth is real, residing in the middle of a vacuum without any solid separation. He believes NASA are a genuine scientific organisation. Very strange. Bizarre that he thinks NASA are a scientific organisation, and he cites footage or photography from the original so-called moon landing as proof for his vegetation claims about the moon. But all you've got to do is look at the blue marble shots which were taken supposedly on the way to the moon, which show the earth to be a ball. Has Mr. Jtolan totally lost the plot? Has Mr. Jtolan sold out? Is Mr. Jtolan just naive and gullible and hasn't really delved into this subject matter other than doing his long-range observations? It's bizarre that this chap who's done some incredible infrared observations thinks the earth is a flat yet spinning in a vacuum, and that NASA's a real scientific organisation, and he's citing photography from the moon landing as evidence that there's vegetation on the moon. Dear oh dear. Just when you thought this subject couldn't get any sillier, we get another so-called big name making an absolute fool of himself, and again tarnishing the words flat earth. You can have an air pressure system reside next to a vacuum without some kind of solid separation. That's a fact. So space isn't real, and the earth isn't rotating, because every tower crane on this earth shows you that scientifically. So I have no idea what's going on with Mr. Jtolan. No idea at all. Perhaps he's banged his head and is slightly concussed and is not making much sense. You tell me what you think's going on with this once great channel that now seemingly makes Scooby-Doo look savvy.